Watch out. I smell... the fierce stench of frightened sore's goblin.
Actually, I think that's only roast pig.
Ah, yes. Yes, of course. This time.
Well, you see, the gold and silver planets in square aspect suggest a struggle within.
No, he didn't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note.
Curse the gods!
Have you found us a job yet? We'll take anything. Really. So, any leads?
The Legionnaire really thinks that orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let it all within 500 yards.
We should tell them that Captain Jack in the marketplace needs a crew to help load his ship. It's good, honest work.
It's a perfect fit. Captain Jack it is.
Oh, and don't forget the time...
So, a captain's offering booze and brass for a bit of crate loading? Gods be praised. You've done it, friend. Off we go.
Really thinks that orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let it all within 500 yards of my loving nature.
As one of her stops there. Ever heard about the time the captain took the Duchess of Ferrell's carriage for the joyride?
Good day to
Are you the captain who's looking for some fresh blood for your crew?
By the siren song am I. You boys willing to earn your day's pay?
Yes, Captain.
Ho ho, let's get to
watch
it
the
then.
undead quiver in their
How
mouth.
lovely to see you again, haver of the beautifully shaped shoulders. I'm a painter by trade, as you can see, but a cartographer at heart. You might think there isn't enough work for one of my talents in a downtrodden city like Cyseal, and you'd be quite right. I travel around Andervale, mastering my craft and finding new subjects to add to my litany of lovely portraits and complex maps, like this rooster I'm working on now, and the landscape that surrounds him.
To the slice of this fine golden land.
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots.
These damn birds won't fetch more than a pittance.
Careful, comrades. I've seen sorcerers infuse even lowly fowl with dark
I am
enchantments.
Stefan, your humble bard, here to serve for your imagination's palate a meal most unforgettable.
Fantastic!
Of whom should I sing? Of
My
salty
word.
pirates mired in brine? Of sweet sugared fairies sipping the sap
My
of fruit
word.
trees? Of bitter warlocks pouring sour brews into the ears of their enemies?
You there! Take a seat!
Prepare to laugh your head off, cry your eyes out, and teeter on the edge of your seat with an original tale from Stefan, the talking severed head. I am Reginald the Illusionist, purveyor of the most amazing artifact in Andevale, this fantastical talking head. Catch the act while you can. This show will only remain in Cyseal as long as there are Legion soldiers to entertain. That's right, a talking head. And he doesn't just talk. He'll weave you a yarn so fantastic, you'll be begging to hear just one more, and just one more. It's quite a story how I found him, too. I obtained this curio by some rather sensational means. You see, I was diving in search of a rare medicinal sea herb. I volunteer at the local children's apothecary on weekends, in the shallows around Cyseal's own Black Cove, when I spotted something amazing. The chest belonging to the fabled Captain Pontius. Though the chest was stuck fast, I summoned a swell of great strength and prized it free from the ancient rock.
Fantastic!
I had the treasure of a lifetime in my very hands. But then, slurp, gulp, I was swallowed by an ornery kraken that seemed to appear from nowhere. In the hubbub, I lost hold of my prize and watched it sink to the bottom of the beast's cavernous belly. Still, I feared only for a moment that all was futile. Before my mind's eye swam the faces of the many war widows and leprotic orphans who would be lost without my charitable support. I knew I had to live. Grabbing fast to the hilt of a cutlass that floated by at just that moment, I summoned all my strength to slash a great gash in the creature's gut.
Ha! My word!
Freeing myself from my would-be tomb, I swam as quickly as I could, first to the surface and then to the shore. It was there, along the rocky beach, that I tripped over this talking head. Strange, isn't it?
Fantastic!
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Oh, excuse me, I'm trying to prepare for the next show. Autographs will have to wait until the end.
Fantastic!
I doubt I have to tell you that I am the amazing singing Stefan, the only sentient severed head in Cyseal. My audience sings my praises from hill and dale.
The severed.
Psst. You're a source hunter, aren't you? Oh, bless the seven. Look, you've got to help me. I've been kidnapped. Pleasure to meet you. Now, please, Stefan has many fans to meet today. Psst, now help me. Take me to Reginald's cellar. There I will reveal everything.
My word!
Hey, stop that!
My word!
Today, I think, a king.
Bravo! Yeehaw!
Zombie ate your dog? Orc sunk your ship? No matter! You're at Katerina's Fair, a veritable summer home for troubled minds. Won't you take a seat and let our esteemed entertainers whisk you off to a better place? Well, I'm Katerina the Fair, fairest First Lady of the Fair, of course. I do love making the acquaintance of my patrons, and who knows which of them might become one of my performers. I've an open stage in want of talent, and I've often found the best young performers among the rank and file of the audience. The theatre's fever has overcome you, has it? Marvellous! I do so love a fresh green talent ready to bloom. But I support players, not writers, you see. If you want to perform here, you'll have to find tried and true material. Check the library and see if any of the classics there interest you. I'd love to see a source hunters take on one of the old standards. Right Right away, my dear, just as fast as your boots can carry you. You've found something decent to perform, I trust, and you've gathered enough actors to do it justice. Speak to Master Chaucer if you're ready for your debut. He alone can adequately prepare you for the stage.
Performers! And who are you supposed to be? Oh, I should have been one of the greats, but here I am gathering peasants to watch peasants perform broadside pageants for peanuts. No, really? I hadn't noticed. If not for this ridiculous condition, you'd know me as the king's favorite thespian. Don't you have an impressive library here in Cyseal? I'm sure that beast of a librarian could rustle something up for you. Katerina's given the go-ahead, has she? Oh, very well, then. Tell me when you're ready to begin, and I'll show you to your places and gather you whatever crowd of drunken yokels can be prevailed upon to watch you flail about on stage. You there! Sit! Stay a while. Right in front. I'll excite you. I'll delight you. I'll beguile you. I'll besmile you. I'm Cedric the Sensational, and I'm playing to an empty audience. Don't pity me. No, sir. Just a few years ago, I was the all-singing, all-dancing, all-sensational darling of the town. People came from far and wide just to witness my amazing act. When Reginald came, he brought some fantastic prop with him. Now, have you seen it? A talking head! Now, I never expected a silly gimmick like that to be my main competition. It seems even my usually choosy audience has been taken in by that hack's little gizmo. I'm a man of skill, sleight of hand, feats of wit, and pure entertainment. This curio is ruining what used to be an art. And even when there's no crowd to speak of, old Reggie still has at least one fan calling bravo and hee-haw. Sure as the sun sets, that one devotee attracts 5 more, and those 5 more all curious about the commotion. I don't know how he inspires such loyalty with less talent contained between his hat and his boots than I've in my crusty handkerchief.
Good to have you back, Source Hunter. A sight for sore eyes indeed.
What's the status,
Another
soldier?
peaceful day, sir.
Excellent! Let's keep it that way.
One coin or two, noble spirit? 1 coin or 2? Oh, I am a happy man, and certainly a humble one now. It turns out losing it all has its own share of benefits. Ah, a fool once was I, and ever seeking greater satisfaction than that which I already enjoyed. In my folly, I sought the counsel of those notorious Watcher statues on the western cliffs. Their guidance ruined any small fortune I might have had, but certainly granted me humility. I'd heard they were not to be trusted, that they gave fools' advice to the fools who sought them, but Somehow I believed that I was the exception. They told me that I would find fame and renown if I renounced my worldly possessions, all my worldly possessions, and became a great figure of piety and humility. Fire, the most thorough cleanser, was my method. But as my house burned in front of me, I felt no elevation, no piety, only the sudden weight of my own idiocy upon my very soul.
So, those statues told him he'd have to renounce his earthly possessions to become a spiritual leader, did they?
Cruel fortune.
Come on! Can't you hear the stage calling you?
Makes sense to me. How can you explore the spirit when you're busy keeping up with the Joneses?
Performers, showmen, show all of them.
Indeed. He said himself that he's finally learned humility. Maybe he made the right choice, really.
Have some pity.
Compensated by the Legion should tragedy befall you on the battlefield?
I suppose so, milady. But seeing that I'm neither married, engaged, or attached in any way, I've never bothered to... Legion's greetings! I have been informed about your heroics on the beach. Were that I had been there to partake in the battle. But my duties lie here, sworn as I am to protect Lady Esmeralda from the rabble that would enforce summary justice on her, even though she is, until proven guilty, wholly innocent. I am Septimus, 7th son in a household of 9, legionnaires all. Me and 2 brothers of mine were assigned to Cyseal from day 1. Alas, both of them have long since fallen in battle against the dead. But never shall I lose heart. Long as a single legionnaire stands, all of us remain undefeated in the eyes of the gods. So fair a lady I have seldom seen in all of Rivellon, my friend. And I have traveled more extensively than migratory birds do. She stands accused of murder, but in my mind, her presumed guilt is a fallacy, and indeed a fabrication. Steadfast will I guard her. Never will I waver unless absolute proof of her culpability should be brought before me. And I hold no such proof exists. Jake's murder is, in a word, a tragedy. He was well loved in all of Cyseal. The Council of 7 couldn't have wished for a better ambassador. That he of all people should have braved the undead siege for so long, only to be felled by foul sorcery, is heartrending. And what questions are those? Tragedy flocks to this place, like goblins to a boar carcass. None of us guessed, when we were assigned to Cyseal, that we were about to embark on a years-long stint in the unluckiest city in Rivellon. Undead orcs, ghosts, what's next? Man-eating zombie crabs? I remember waking up with a head full of hammers 2 years ago. The drill sergeant barking away, "Up you get, lads, we sail for Cyseal. Them's in need of the Legion over there." They certainly were, and they are still. Only, we cannot grant them victory, for I have yet to see the mortal soul that can put those undead bastards to rest once and for all.
Lords above, grant me patience. You're a source hunter, aren't you? Here because you think I killed my husband. How many times do I need to state and restate my complete innocence in the matter? Like I told just about every legionnaire in town, I don't know anything about poor Jake's murder. I want his killer found and tried, but everyone suspects me of this evil deed. And you're no different, are you? So what happened? Some of them tittle-tattling crab chasers down the pub call me a murderous gold digger and you believe them? These insinuations truly go beyond the pale. Oh, I think I'm getting one of my headaches.
Well, what do you want to know?
Well, there are certainly some, interesting creatures running around these days. Orcs are only the tip of the brutish iceberg. Don't forget the murderous bones along the northern gate. And if the rumours are right, the ghosts in the Black Cove. How's that old expression? When the blood spills, it pours. I've heard that once they're animated, the undead feel all the rage and violence their living counterparts felt during life. Can you imagine living through all your most chaotic feelings all the time?
She seems to be quite adamant about her innocence.
We need to look for evidence if we want to prove she actually did the evil deed.
Now this is valuable.
Would your wife or sweetheart be compensated by the Legion should tragedy befall you on the battlefield?
I suppose so. But seeing that I'm neither married...
Move along.
I've never bothered to inquire.
Polite, handsome, and single. Don't go anywhere tonight, Legionnaire. I'd be afraid alone in the dark.
A book about setting up the perfect
officer
crime.
You are, kind Septimus. You must have fought many a battle, am I right? In fact, I bet you're a real war hero.
Oh, I'm no hero. I'm just doing my duty. For the Legion.
Well, you certainly are my hero. The rock upon which I may rest my weary soul in these trying and troubled times.
Never fear, milady. As long as I'm around, no hair on your haloed head shall be harmed.
inside her secret room, but I bet it's full of hams too. I'd go in and see if I were tall enough to reach the button. Say!
Hope I land on my feet.
taking a tumble.
You there, cut it out.
So that's what that did. A bloody dagger. Could this have been involved in the crime?
It certainly piques one's interest, doesn't it?
A source hunter! Oh, what a sight for sore Cysealian eyes! Me? I live alone here in town. Used to be that my younger brother Tom and I were practically joined at the hip, but that's all changed now. Oh, he's always been something of a rascal, calling his petty hooliganism adventuring and endlessly worrying my poor mind. Oh, but of course, I've always loved that scamp to bits. For my part, I encouraged him to join the Legion. Even got him sparring with Captain Aureus now and then. But then those blasted Fabulous Five came into town. That band of... I don't even know what to call them. Well, they're his heroes, and I simply couldn't prevent him from going to see them. That one meeting was all it took for Tom to run off with them on some mission to God knows where.
The Seven grant abundance!
That doesn't belong to us, you know.
We're source hunters. We should be able to access any of the resources we need or want while we're on the job.
Other people's possessions don't count as resources we can seize at our own discretion.
What? Oh, it's you. Come closer then. Closer? My ears aren't what they used to be. Nor my eyes, for that matter. Yes, hello, Source Hunter. Our city welcomes you. My elf? What elf? Oh, myself. I am Cecil, Mayor of Cyseal, and husband of the stately Cecilia. I've been the mayor here for decades, and I'm quite eager to see Cyseal through these difficult times. Yes, very difficult times indeed. What? Oh, you mean Cyseal? Very difficult times indeed. As though the death of Jacon by source magic no less weren't enough. We're also facing all sorts of brutish intruders. The undead have overrun all but one northern trade route, while the orcs are making a habit of savaging our beaches. That's not to mention that at the top of this whole caboodle, there's rumors of some new religious sect or cult or some such sticking its tendrils into the innocent, seven-fearing folks of Cyseal. And, while we're on the subject of troubles, I myself have a private matter I'd like to bring to your attention. It involves a magic relic I rather foolishly sought. A weapon called... Jake! Murdered? Oh, yes. Yes, now I recall. Indeed. I could hardly believe it myself. The Council and I have certainly had our differences over the years, but old squabbles evaporate under such circumstances. Most of the townsfolk are certain Jake's wife Esmeralda is responsible. In fact, the Legion have taken her into protective custody to keep her safe from the mob. As you can imagine, I've known Esmeralda for years. That business between her and the Duke of Ferrol was always a bit, suggestive. But I've never had cause to suspect her of violence. Still, one never knows for sure. An all-right bloke, apart from all this Esmeralda nonsense. The whole town knows the only goal of his business trips to Cyseal is to spend a night or two at the King Crab Inn with Mrs. Counselor. What? The undead? Yes, for the past 2 years those blasted skeletons have all but suffocated this city. With all but one trade route overrun, Cyseal's once torrential commerce has slowed to a pathetic trickle. What of what now? Oh, you're speaking gibberish. Ah, you mean the staff of Pergamon. Yes, yes. I was expecting a shipment of weapons, and among the cargo was this very powerful, very rare staff. I managed to place the order through means somewhat, atypical to a government official. Cecil proved an old fool, though, for the merchant slated to deliver it to me has just informed me that the damn thing has gone missing. I fear it may have fallen into the wrong hands, and I wonder if you could retrieve it for me. His name is Conrad, captain of the Tide Splitter, a merchant ship still docked at the Cyseal harbor. You can talk to him if you think it'd help, but I'd quite like to avoid getting the Legion involved, if you don't mind. Well, I do believe that's something your parents ought to have discussed with you long ago, Source Hunter, but I suppose if you really don't know, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least explain the basics. Ah, you see, when a lady and a fellow find each other rather nice, well, rather more than nice, they occasionally, well, Oh, this is nonsense. I'm the mayor for the 7th sake. I can't be bothered to chat all day about the birds and the bees when Cyseal's under siege by orcs, undead, and cultists. That depends. What kind of berries are you interested in, exactly? Ah, the library. Yes, yes, you must have a visit. It's the gem of Cyseal. Would you like to have a look? I'll escort you upstairs myself. Marvelous! Follow me, then.
I knew that dark-dealing old man dabbled in source. To the gallows, I say.
What? Oh, yes. This library is the jewel in Cyseal's crown, the beacon of culture and learning in our fair city. My Victoria has every volume you could possibly imagine, and she's got every speck of information about this place packed into her brilliant brain. Yes, Victoria's come a long way from that little bundle of claws and teeth I adopted so long ago. Ah, it brings a tear to my eye just seeing her here among her beloved books.
You know it by heart.
A volume of poetry among novels? Urack! What mayhem! In the name of Amun-Hur, I bid thee Tujda Geta Hal, be welcome, human. My library is yours, as I hope your friendship is mine.
First edition.
I am Victoria, daughter of Mayor Cecil. Oh, I know what you're thinking. The likeness isn't exactly striking, is it? When I was very young, you see, I must have been cast out by my tribe, for I was found in a wicker basket floating past Cyseal toward the sea.
Most promising.
The fisherman who found me would have drowned me on the spot, for I am an orc after all. But praise be Amon-Hor, dear Cecil was among the gathered crowd, and he took pity on the exiled infant that chance had put in his way. He raised me like I was his own, this kindest of souls, taught me the language of men, their customs and their letters. Thus, I became the city's librarian, a position I uphold with no small diligence and pride. Indeed you may. The wisdom I here hoard is yours to peruse and even take with you. All I can ask is that you return the books you borrow so that others may enjoy them too.
Lucky find!
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh.
Hello again, adventurer. I hope you wiped those muddy boots on your way in. Me? I live alone here in town. Used to be that my younger brother Tom and I were practically joined at the hip, but that's all changed now. Oh, he's always been something of a rascal, calling his petty hooliganism adventuring and endlessly worrying my poor mind. Oh, but of course, I've always loved that scamp to bits. For my part, I encouraged him to join the Legion. Even got him sparring with Captain Aureus now and then. But then those blasted Fabulous Five came into town. That band of... I don't even know what to call them. Well, they're his heroes, and I simply couldn't prevent him from going to see them. That one meeting was all it took for Tom to run off with them on some mission to God knows where.
The lesser key of Salacandras. Ugh, what nonsense. Is there no new book to be discovered in this library?
A volume of poetry among novels? Urak! What mayhem.
Fortune!
No. This isn't the Grim Omnes autem mali demonis quam. What? What is this? Who are you to interrupt my musings? By Naga the Protector, they have the manners of boors, these boatmen of Cyseal. Oh, but perhaps I spoke too soon. Perhaps I was mistaken, for you hardly resemble the local fisher folk, which, incidentally, is a compliment of copious dimensions indeed. No, a source hunter, that is what you are. Yes, a stalker of sorcery, a chaser of charms pernicious. In truth, I cannot go so far as to say it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, for I take no pleasure in the company of man. But it may just be to our mutual advantage to join forces nonetheless. Why, simply because you hunt source, and I, Jehan, hunt demons. You are aware, of course, that quite often both of these pests frequent the same shadowy pools of infamy. Now, I hate what I hunt, but I respect its cunning. Should I not, I'd have been decimated body and soul long since. This is a sentiment I'm quite certain you must recognize. Let there be strength in cunning, yes, but also in numbers. The calculus of wizardry I offer you, the might of the magician's mastermind. On one condition, that on our joint travels we will never deal with demonic entities, no matter how tempting their propositions. Give me your word on this, and I'll weave you spells.
Very well. There will be no deals with demons.
A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned.
Nothing good ever came from bargaining with those devils anyway.
Most gratifying. I see you are firm of purpose and thereby ready to descend. Descend into the madness that is sorcery. into the depths where demons dance. Gladly shall I follow you into the abyss. Onward, blood and triumph await.
Celeron will have to pay yet another fine.
Oh, golly gosh! One who flaunts the highways and byways of silly old Cyseal with the easy elegance of a puss with her tail in the air. I do declare such a sight is rather rare around here. But where are my manners? I am Maxine, and you must be one of those hunters one hears so much about. Charmed, I'm sure. I'm the mayor's cat, don't you know? Born and raised on velvets and viands of most exquisite varieties. Maxine rhymes with queen, after all, and dearest. That is hardly a coincidence. Oh, he's a darling old Tom, isn't he? Paws over tails in love with me, and who can blame him? The feeling's, well, it's rather mutual, actually. But that pet of a puss simply doesn't have a penny to his name. At the risk of sounding as shallow as a spaniel, I can't but admit my love does not come unconditionally. What if we were to have kittens, he and I? They'd jolly well starve, wouldn't they, with an alley cat for a papa? Oh, dear Sam, he's such a good old bean. But he does rather reside at the bottom of the scratching pole, doesn't he? And dear me, one must have at least a mite of standards. But of course, darling, be my guest. Oh, this quaint little town is a tad too parochial for one of my more urbane tastes. But one has to make do, hasn't one? The fresh sea air does go to great lengths to invigorate one's spirit, that much I'll admit. And it is rather jolly to watch the ships sail in laden with all kinds of exotic wares, full of the little treats the mayor likes to spoil me with. Darling man, he dotes on me so. Heavens forbid! No, fear is rather too strong a term there, hunter dearest. The predator's instinct is a trait we share, you and I. And though those rancid ramblers may not be quite as easy to put to the claw as mice are, I assure you they are just as easily outwitted.
Ah, cats.
You there! Cut it out!
Magnificence incarnate.
Slinking charlatans, more like. I wouldn't trust a cat as far as I can throw. And I'm a world.
Cyseal's ever seen.
Everything we do seems to fortify your abilities.
I suppose your example has inspired me to reach heights I never before envisioned.
That inspiration hardly flows one way, my friend.
Potent heat.
Potent heat.
Warm as dragon's breath.
Source Hunter. A sight for sore eyes if ever there was one. I know you're probably knee-deep in that awful murder investigation, but truth be told, the Legion could use your help as well. We've been conducting a series of expeditions into undead territory, and I'm afraid I must admit they've met with very little success. Lieutenant Selenia, at your service. I'm Captain Aureus' second-in-command, but rest assured I am a lot more kindly inclined towards source hunters than he is. And that is exactly what your presence in Cyseal is, Source Hunter. A gift and a blessing. Only heroes such as yourself can make a true difference in this troubled part of the world. Such is my honest conviction. The undead. I pitied them at first. Many among them were once kind and innocent civilians of Cyseal after all. No longer do I feel that way, though. Too many of my soldiers have fallen. The dead must be put down without mercy, if we can. The bravest among my men and women tell me they are weaker in the west and stronger in the east. So I suggest you head westward if you want to flex your muscles and test the waters before blindly diving to your death.
She bit me in the
I shall be very glad to share what information I can give you. If ever we want to be victorious in Cyseal, we have to track down the root of the undead uprising. Under the Pact of Volunteers, 3 expeditions were launched to do just that. But so far, none of their participants have returned. 3 landmarks were chosen for further investigation. The lighthouse, the burial mounds, and the old church. Places fraught with danger all. The locals say it's haunted, and half a dozen legionnaires have gone to find out whether or not those are mere tall tales. I fear for their safety. There are ancient burial grounds to be found north of the city. As good a place as any to start looking for necromancers, wouldn't you say? A local archaeologist offered to tag along with the men. Here's hoping his knowledge on the subject may prove to be of use to them. There's a church to the northeast of here, built atop the very place where once stood a temple dedicated to the source. The Cysealians razed it, and built a church for the 7 instead, supposedly to symbolize the victory of the gods over evil sorcery. All superstitious mumbo-jumbo, if you ask me. But when the dead rose, that is when they were first spotted. Hence the expedition. So I did. The Pact of Volunteers. Many legionnaires will do whatever it takes to go home, which is why I personally sign their transfer orders the moment they make it back from a mission behind enemy lines. The chances of survival during these sorties are only about 1 in 10, you see. So my soldiers are free to volunteer, and if they are successful, they just bought themselves a boat ride home.
Come on now, I pulled her off you before she could do any real damage.
Greetings! These...
Aside! Step aside! This maniac's gonna turn me into a meat pie!
A chicken has the right to live too.
Yes, let's pardon him. Just look at the little blighter. He doesn't deserve the knife.
Yippee-ki-yay!
Why did you let my chicken escape?
We'll have none of that, you hear? You let my chicken escape? Looks like it's your lucky day, Jack. Now to tell the troops they're getting nothing but the cornbread.
I need a moment to reflect. Compassion is the true heart of our mission, and a banner I'm glad to fight for.
With each such display of empathy, I find myself drawn closer and closer to your kind's.
Well, Source Hunter, you come to the right place, you have. I got every style of equipment to fit you from head to foot, if it's a trade you're after.
These stalls are for our Legion troops. Riverland's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the 7.
You don't think it's infected, do you?
Good luck out there, Hunter.
Come on with the dramatics. It's not as bad as all that.
The face, Virius. She bit me in the face.
Look on the bright side. Everyone knows the ugly
That's it,
soldiers
troops.
are the most
Train up while
ferocious.
you can.
Ugli'll be
Next
the least of
orcish
it.
strike
The
could
beast
land at
looks
any
rabid.
moment.
In that case, you'll have the pleasure of putting her down yourself.
I wish for you to try it, Screech woman.
The beast. Hey, who's that then? Come on, stand where my good eye can see you.
Easy, Tull. That's the source hunter you're talking to.
She may have the look of a woman if you squint hard enough, but she's no more than a wild animal. We got reports of a strange-looking outsider skulking through the town with her bow drawn. I found her crouched behind a tree, taking aim at a fat old rat trotting along the city walls. I tapped her on the shoulder to see what was what, and the beast startled like a wild cat and lunged right at me.
Bit Tullia right in the face, she did. It wasn't pretty, and now it's got a chunk ripped off it to boot.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire in the cohort that'll have you if I go rabid.
I'd say you ought to take her off our hands if you had the space. Though we couldn't guarantee she'd do more than piddle on the floor.
Ice blue eyes narrow beneath a heavy brow streaked with sweat and dust. Her hands tense into claws, held at the ready.
Her brow knits together, but something in her pose relaxes. She clears her throat. I am Bear Daughter. I have not come here to find trouble with the Screech woman. She only startled me. And you are a source hunter. I have heard many tales of your order. Your history is long and honorable. This woman here, the one who now plots her revenge, she crept behind me while I was hunting, and I only defended myself. I would not hurt an innocent Screech woman on purpose. But soon their swords were upon me, and they forced me into this cage meant for dogs. Mother would rip the fur from her chest if she could see how they keep me.
Careful, source hunter. If I keep my eyes off this cage, the beast's liable to risk an escape.
I'd say you ought to take her off our hands if you had the space. Though we couldn't guarantee she'd do more than piddle on the floor and maul your furniture.
About face!
She may have the look of a woman if you squint hard enough, but she's no more than a wild animal. We got reports of a strange-looking outsider skulking through the town with her bow drawn. I found her crouched behind a tree, taking aim at a fat old rat trotting along the city walls. I tapped her on the shoulder to see what was what, and the beast startled like a wild cat and lunged right at me.
Bit Tullia right in the face, she did. It wasn't pretty, and now it's got a chunk ripped off it to boot.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire in the cohort that'll have you if I go rabid. Careful, source hunter. If I keep my eyes off this cage, the beast's liable to risk an escape.
Daemon Daemonium. I'll find you yet. Do you now? Yours is this mistake to make, Hunter, and yours is the opportunity to set it right. Until...
Careful, source hunter. If I keep my eyes off this cage, the beast's Careful, source hunter. If I keep my eyes off this cage, the beast's liable to risk an escape. She may have the look of a woman if you squint hard enough, but she's no more than a wild animal. We got reports of a strange-looking outsider skulking through the town with her bow drawn. I found her crouched behind a tree, taking aim at a fat old rat trotting along the city walls. I tapped her on the shoulder to see what was what, and the beast startled like a wild cat and lunged right at me.
Bit Tullia right in the face, she did. It wasn't pretty, and now it's got a chunk ripped off it to boot.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire in the cohort that'll have you if I go rabid.
Well, that's to be decided. She does...
Again!
Perhaps it'd be worth taking this stranger under our wing. She'll likely come in handy if we can trust her to watch our backs.
Notch! Recruits! That was sloppy.
After all, a fearless hunter might prove quite useful for our investigation.
Well, that's a relief, ain't it? We found a good home for her after all, Tull.
Heed me, Source Hunter. She's not good for anything more than cannon fodder. And don't turn your back on her when she's got that bow within arm's reach.
Attention! About
Source
face.
Hunter, I have heard tales both grand and terrible about the world of humans. I myself was caged one moment and freed the next by our kind. In Home Forest, every creature acts according to the nature of its kind. Birds frighten easily, badgers fear little. But amongst men, there are no guarantees.
Sorry, sir.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Those boots would embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining, recruits.
Sorry, sir. It is difficult for me to claim humanity as you do. I am still learning to see myself in the faces of those I meet. And those I meet do not always see themselves in me. It is strange to stand with one foot in the forest and the other in the city, Source Hunter. I am glad that now I have you standing beside me.
Recruits! That was sloppier than Cysealian stew. Again!
Good to have you back, Source Hunter. A sight for sore eyes indeed.
About face!
Source Hunter, welcome, welcome. But certainly, what would you like to know? Oh, I am but a wizard, a guardian of man and beast, and indeed I am both. My body, like any other, is bound to temporal decay. But my spirit is a speck of light that shone forth from the eternal sun that is the cosmic soul. My task upon this earth is to protect the heart of nature, the very antithesis of which is the intrigue spun by demons and directors of the dead. Hence my involvement in Cyseal. You see, my one desire is to witness a world in which every mother looks around her and purrs with calm contentment, for she knows that her chicks or children, her cubs or calves, will grow up without knowing the meaning of menace, the enfeeblement of fear. To my great regret, none of them purr as yet. Oh, but that's not a trick, it's a blessing. Or does it surprise you that I enjoy taking a feline guise. Such magic is a gift, Hunter. To tread upon the realm of instinct, even articulate speech, perhaps humanity's greatest asset, cannot give expression to something so inextricably innate. To be out in the night, to stalk on silent paws and hunt with only the moon as your witness, you couldn't possibly imagine the thrill. But of course it's handy to speak in more than meows. And I couldn't brew potions or make machines without opposable thumbs, this I freely admit. Let's just say I have found a way to enjoy the best of two worlds. Oh, that'll never happen. Granted, a witch could make the polymorph permanent if she'd enchant me in my cat guise, but I'll just have to be careful around witches, won't I? I'm my own wizard, you know, and I don't intend to become anyone's familiar. By all means. Of course, I hope your investigation fares well. I can but piece together what few morsels fell from the grapevine into a rather disappointing meal, I'm afraid. They say a woman arrived in the King Crab Inn sometime after midnight. She retired to a room on the ground floor where she was soon joined by a man who had been nursing the same cup of wine for hours. I say man and woman because both of them were cloaked and recognized by none. About an hour later, another figure arrived, headed for the same room. Soon after, a terrible commotion erupted and the thundering light of magic was witnessed by the few remaining patrons. It took a while for the landlord to pluck up the courage to enter the mystery room. When finally he did, he found Jake there, dead. How and why he came to be there, no one knows. But I had a good look around the scene of the crime before the Legion barred anyone from entering. The traces of magic I felt were vile. I myself have none, even though the rest of the town has already mentally tried and convicted Jake's wife, Esmeralda. Now, it may well be established that she is in fact the guilty party. I'm not claiming that I'm certain she's innocent, but let's just say that if I really thought this murder case would be so very easily resolved, I wouldn't have sent for source hunters. I can't say much more but that they're madmen, all the more dangerous to us because of their alliance with what should be a natural enemy. You won't see me teaming up with a terrorist. And what might those be? One of them failed? Who is the mongrel that dares to question my engineering expertise? I take it the mutt in question was referring to the Sparkmaster 5000. It isn't failing, it just became... well, it became self-aware. Frightfully annoying when that happens. You know what? Here's the remote access device with which I used to control it. There's a manual for that somewhere around here, too. Yours, if you can find it. I really should invite Victoria one of these days, so she can help me organize my mess of a library. Those who are raising the dead dwell among us. They simply must be. But even though I've spent many a night leaping from tree to rooftop, watching on as citizens stagger home from the inn or simply burn the midnight oil, I haven't spied a single soul worthy of true suspicion. The enemy is wily. They know us better than we know them, and they've found ways to avoid both detection and distrust. Yet I am somehow convinced that you have a flair for understatements, Hunter. I'm sure they are but a minor nuisance in the eyes of a born warrior, but to the Legion they are green-skinned death incarnate. Until they conclude what mischief they intend to see through, or, less likely, they are conclusively defeated, we can but bar the gates and hole up like mice while the cats are on the prowl. Oh, a mere trifle for one with the intellect of a feline and the engineering skills of a human. You basically construct a classic ballista, add a 100% legally obtained self-regenerating source of destructive magic to it, and Bobcat's your uncle.
What have we here, then? A so-called source hunter, eh? Well, look, do what you must in Cyseal, but don't make waves and don't interfere with the Legion's affairs, you hear? I'm Captain Aureus, if you must know, leader of the Legion in Cyseal, by which I mean I have the enviable task of commanding a battalion of walking dead. For I fear it may well be but a matter of time before the undead undo all my soldiers and turn them into drivelling hordes of their own misshapen number. Gods above! Some politician snuffs it and everyone's in an uproar. Ridiculous! I told that wizard brat of an Ahu not to bother, but he just had to send for source hunters, didn't he? Bloody magicians! They see a pigeon poop and think sorcery's afoot. Nevertheless, I want to be kept in the loop. Understand? I am in command of this town, not Mayor Cecil, not Ahu, and definitely not some hotshot source hunter. So investigate Jake's death if you feel so inclined, but report back to me the moment you discover something out of the ordinary. The scene of the crime is over at the King Crab Inn. You can tell the guard you have my permission to enter. Now off with you! Esmeralda is Jake's wife. Well, widow. Everyone in town, down to the crabs on the beach, is convinced she killed him. Now, the girl has the reputation of being a flirt. There is that. But that doesn't suffice as evidence, wouldn't you say? Or do source hunters rely on hearsay alone, perhaps? That certainly would explain some of the cock-ups you lot have made in the past. What? You're going to stand there and claim with a straight face your order never wrongly tortured and executed anyone? Hardly. But I won't stand for such nonsense. If you bring evidence before me, I'll evaluate it with perfect objectivity. The Legion relies on reason, see? Not idle superstition. So, you found a blooded knife in Esmeralda's cellar. Guess you can scratch the top candidate off your list of cliched clues, then. Not exactly enough to arrest her for, is it? How to plan the perfect murder. Really? Really? She might as well wear a dress with the words "I killed Jake and I liked it" embroidered on it. But that alone wouldn't suffice to convince me. So convince me, Hunter, and keep looking. If you must. How am I enjoying it? Are you spoiling for a fight, Hunter? Are you? Cyseal stinks of fish, reeks of orcs, and on a good day the wind disperses the stench of decomposing corpses. I can't remember the last time I had a proper piece of steak, and by now I retch at the mere sight of sardines. So in conclusion, we are the pride of Rivellon, to be found and to be seen everywhere. We don't hide in the dark and lurk in corners like some I could mention. No, we protect the civilized from the barbaric, and we do so impeccably. I'd say they're looking for weak spots in our defenses. They can't make an attack over land for fear of Ahu's magical machines, so they're trying their luck by sea. They won't succeed, though. Not against the Legion. Yes, and he also spends most of his time in the guise of a cat, licking God's knows which body parts. Sects, sorcerers. He'll be seeing flying carpets next.
Source hunter or no, not a single non-legionnaire is permitted into the treasure room. Pockets have a pesky habit of growing extra deep in such places.
Hey, we'll have none of that, you hear?
Peace! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Cysealian stew. Again!
Showman, show all of them. Cyseal, what you're made of. Beer and flatulence. You there? You look like an actor just waiting for his big debut.
Enjoying the fair, aren't you? Of course you are. Entertainment is Katerina's #1 export to this gloomy town.
What is it this time? Come one! Come all! Can't you hear the stage?
In truth, this is a relief. Your world is made with rules I have not yet memorized. I am happy to have a friend in such a place. And so the lonely babe was fed upon the wild mother's milk, and cast aside from humankind, he thrived among his mother's ilk. So said a wise godwolf, Amira, raised the child thrice among her litter. So you see, I have good company. Thrice the wolf.
What is it this time? Katerina's given the go-ahead, has she? Oh, very well then. Oh, I should have been one of the greats. But here I am gathering peasants to watch peasants perform broadside pageants for peanuts. Ready for your trial by fire, you mean? There's no more savage foe than an audience, my dear. But I'm sure you'll do just fine. May the show begin! And I'd like to be the king of Stormfist, but I haven't got the credentials, have I? Come back when you've found some material worthy of my stage. Come one! Come all! Can't you hear the stage calling you?
By the seven, what a tale!
Performers, showmen, show all of the Cyseal what you're made of. Apart from beer and flatulence. Performers, showmen, show all of the Cyseal what you're made of. Apart from beer and flatulence. What is it this time? Katerina's given the go-ahead, has she? Tell me when you're ready to begin, and I'll show you to your places and gather you whatever crowd of... Ready for your trial by fire, you mean? There's no more savage foe than an audience, my dear. But not planning on playing to an empty audience, are you? Wait until I've gathered some victims to witness the spectacle, and then you can begin. Any last words?
You hear distant mutterings of curiosity as a small crowd shuffles toward your stage. A few moments longer, and everyone will be seated.
Bravo! Yeehaw!
My word!
My word!
If I wanted to wait around doing...
The stage is yours. The crowd is completely appalled by your retelling. Are you sure that's how the story goes? Perhaps you ought to study a bit more and try again later.
I haven't felt so unfulfilled.
What is it this time? Katerina's, tell me when you're ready to begin. Oh, not planning on...
You hear distant mutterings of curiosity as a small crowd shuffles toward your stage. A few moments longer, and everyone will be seated.
Fantastic!
The stage is yours.
My word!
The crowd seems to know the tale. They wholly approve of your beginning.
No, I hope there's an encore. Bravo!
The crowd is thrilled. Whatever will happen next is sure to excite them.
Fantastic! Bravo! Bravo! Bravo!
The crowd seem quite impressed with your delivery. Keep it up.
Oh, I hope there's an encore.
The crowd gasps. They're on the edge of their seats. Go on. Push them over.
Bravo! Yeehaw!
Gasps ring out across the audience. They must know how it ends. They simply must. The crowd explodes into applause and appreciation. You've woven them a tale of desperation and hope, and they are alive with the thrill of it.
Took my breath away, it did.
You there?
Took my
You
breath
look like
away,
an
it
actor
did.
just waiting. What is it this time?
Enjoying the fair, aren't you? Of course.
Bravo! Yeehaw!
You there? You look like an actor just waiting for his big debut. What is it this time? Bravo! Bravo! Well, I'm certainly not afraid of admitting when I'm wrong. That was, well, nearly enjoyable. I suppose you earned yourself a little something for your trouble, wouldn't you? Katerina's given the go-ahead, has she? Oh, very well, then. Tell me when you're ready to begin, and I'll show you to your places. And, oh, here we go again. Try. Not planning on playing to an empty audience, are you? Wait until I've gathered some victims to witness the spectacle, and then you can begin. Any last words?
You hear distant mutterings of curiosity as a small crowd shuffles toward your stage. A few moments longer, and everyone will be seated. A few more moments and the crowd will be all settled. A few more moments and the crowd will be all settled.
Fantastic! Bravo! Bravo! Fantastic!
The stage is yours.
Good show!
The crowd breaks into an approving chuckle. Continue, by all means.
Oh, I hope there's an encore.
Eager to hear more, the crowd leans forward with great interest. One lady in the back is already chuckling. She must have heard this one before.
Oh!
The crowd's curiosity is piqued. Oh, do go on before they explode.
Simply marvellous.
Oh, I hope there's an encore. Good show.
That's it, Source Hunter. You've got this joyful crowd right where you want them. Now, take them on home.
Simply marvellous.
They like you. They really, really like you. Well done, Source Hunter.
Fantastic! Bravo! Bravo! Fantastic! Bravo! Yeehaw!
Ah, a familiar face. Come, watch the show. I promise it'll take your mind off beheading baddies, or whatever it is you do with all those muscles. It seems even my usually choosy audience has been taken in by that hack's little gizmo. I'm a man of skill, sleight of hand, feats of wit, and pure entertainment. This curio is ruining what used to be an art. And even when there's no crowd to speak of, old Reggie still has at least one fan calling bravo and hee-haw. I don't know how he...
By the seven! What a tale! What are you looking at me for? There's a great show going on right in front of you. And look, there stands the world-famous Reginald the Entertainer. Better check it out if you don't want to miss the time of your life. Oh, I'm nothing but your average man taking in the best show I've ever seen. I'm amazed and astounded that for a meager gold coin or two, I can take in this first-rate entertainment all day long.
War machines.
Well, I've stumbled into quite the fine gig. I just let my appreciation for Reggie's work be known, and he slips me a few gold coins in return. My voice happens to carry pretty far. Cyseal hears me. Cyseal wants to see what the fuss is all about. And let me tell you, this amazing show just can't be beat. Well, drawing a crowd's what I do best, and I'd be glad to do it for your little show. 100 gold up front, and yours will be the hottest ticket in Cyseal. 98, 99, 100. Looks like all's in order, Chief. So, ready for a bigger crowd than you can shake a stick at? Stand back and watch this.
Creamy blues and gory reds that ordered a contest across his realm.
What are you looking at me for?
Today, I think, a king.
Fantastic!
What is it this time? Katarina's given the... Tell me when you're ready to begin, and I'll show you to... Oh, here we go. Again. Try not to embarrass yourself too terribly.
You hear distant mutterings of curiosity as a small crowd shuffles toward your stage. A few moments longer, and everyone will be seated.
Well, what's the hold up?
The stage is yours.
Fantastic!
The crowd breaks into an approving chuckle. Continue, by all means.
Fantastic!
Oh, I hope there's an encore!
Eager to hear more, the crowd leans forward with great interest. One lady in the back is already chuckling. She must have heard this one before.
Oh, I hope there's an encore!
The crowd's curiosity is piqued. Oh, do go on before they explode.
Fantastic!
Oh, I hope there's an encore! Good show!
That's it, Source Hunter. You've got this joyful crowd right where you want them. Now, take them on home. They like you. They really, really like you. Well done, Source Hunter.
You there! I look like an actor just waiting for his...
The great Sigurd and his rainbow of war machines. It is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Oh, excuse me, I'm trying to prepare for the next... It won't be the worst indignation I've suffered. Get on with it then.
Took my breath away, it did.
Enjoying the fair, aren't you? Of course you are. Entered...
What you're made of? Pardon the beer and flatulence. What is it this time? Well, I must say that was, well, impressive. A bit like myself during my blue period, if I do say so myself. Here, have a little something from the fair coffer. I dare say you've earned it.
This is the finest show in the land!
Show there be! Show all of them! Cyseal, what you're made of!
Perhaps he's rolled beneath the stage.
Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse has more holes than a slice of this fine Gorman bear.
Looks like that dog is awfully agitated.
Perhaps he wants to tell us something.
So
Peace be with you, traveller. May your lost loved ones rest in peace. I once lived a prosperous life with my husband and our happy little daughter, Loni. But when the undead plague broke out, my Loni never recovered from the loss. And when a group of mercenaries, predators, more aptly called, came to town dangling the opportunity to annihilate those undead devils, Loni lapped up their rhetoric and joined without so much as a backward glance. She was killed less than a week after she joined. Here she lies, and here I stand, mourning the death of my last joy.